You're on the clock.
Well, I'm on the clock. I was just about to
Yeah.
say it. Welcome back to another episode of the Tracy Take. Before we get started, just want to say thank you to all of our subscribers. We just passed 150 subscribers just a couple minutes ago, actually. So I want to say thank you. And if you are watching this video and you're not a subscriber yet, please like and subscribe and comment on your overall thoughts. We love hearing your guys' feedback to make our content better for you. But that being said, we are getting into the Minnesota Vikings season preview. And Ryan, this was a fun one to do some research on. I know I'm
It
supposed to say
was.
that about all 32 teams, except the Lions. So if you're a Vikings fan, you like hearing that because you guys should beat the Lions this year. But that being said, they had a lot of draft picks. I thought they did a pretty good job in the draft.
Hmm.
Kind of get into it. They found their future left tackle Christian Darrisaw, who we were talking about this before. I did not realize he was the highest ranked tackle of all
Yeah.
Power Five tackles with a
Hmm.
95.6 grade. So, which I think
Yeah.
that's going to be huge for that team to have a solidified spot on the left tackle, help out Kirk
Hmm.
Cousins and Dalvin Cook. But honestly, they're a fun team to watch. I feel like all the
Yeah.
weapons
Yeah.
that they have, they should be pretty good.
Hmm. And since we're talking about the offensive line, I'll just go ahead and they made a trade with the Jets. They traded back from 14 to 24, I think.
Third, 23rd.
23rd. Okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then so they got Christian Darrisaw at 23, which is incredible value
Mm-hmm.
considering he was a top 3 offensive tackle in the draft. And then they also got guard Wyatt Davis from Ohio State in the 3rd round, I think, pick 75 overall.
Yep.
And to me, that is, if Wyatt Davis can pan out and be healthy again and play and progress like he was at Ohio State,
Mm-hmm.
that is your left tackle and left guard for the next decade.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and that
Absolutely.
is those are two solid pieces, and I really think that they muted probably one of their biggest losses, which was the loss of Riley Reef,
Mm-hmm.
their offensive lineman. And so I think that is a very big addition uh,
But
to
just
this
the
offense.
offensive line. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. But I think last season that their offense was pretty good. Their offensive line was a little questionable at times, but they were very comfortably in the top 10 in offensive efficiency in the run game and just outside the top 10 at 11 or 12 in passing offense efficiency.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's one of those things. I think bolstering up this offensive line is going to help both the run game and the pass game, and then obviously the overall offense. Not to just say obvious things like that, but
Yeah.
uh, I and I think with the progression of Justin Jefferson, that offense will be very dynamic. They also lost Kyle Rudolph, but I think that's just going to give more opportunities to Irv Smith Jr. Uh,
Yeah. I would say
which
he had a pretty solid year last year with
mhm,
365 yards and 5 touchdowns. But
yeah,
yeah, if they can solidify the offense, well, the offensive line and have one of the better passing offensive lines in the league, you've got Dalvin Cook, who's arguably one of the best running backs in the league. I'd say he's up there for top five. I mean, he
mhm.
had over 1,550 yards
he's
last year with
he's a
16
first round
touchdowns.
fantasy draft pick.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I was actually
Yeah,
thinking about that. It's like if I'm picking sixth or seventh, like I would
yeah,
gladly take him
yeah.
if he somehow falls that far back to me. But then you got Justin Jefferson with 1,400 yards. I know I did my bold prediction on him,
Hmm.
and go check out the video if you haven't seen it. And
Hmm.
then I didn't actually realize this. Adam Thielen had 14 touchdowns last year, and he wasn't a thousand
Yeah.
yard receiver. So that's very interesting. They have a lot of weapons. And Kirk Cousins, I think he is above average. I know
Hmm.
Vikings fans might not like hearing that, but they did draft their quarterback of the future, in my opinion, and Kellen Mond, someone that
Yeah.
you and I were very high on, and I think
Hmm.
that's actually kind of a perfect system for him. He gets a couple years to learn the system. They probably
Yeah.
won't re-sign Kirk Cousins, and because they should hopefully have a solidified team around him once
Yeah.
Kellen Mond is in his third
I
year. But
If you watch some of our older episodes, I was very fond of Kellen Mond. I thought that he was very mature. He went through his
mhm,
progressions really well. He was able to make good, uh, consistent reads. He was very safe with the football. And whether you like this quarterback or not, I do have a pro comparison for him, and it is Dak Prescott. Both graduated from SEC schools as a senior.
Hmm.
Both went in the third or fourth round, kind of day 2 or 3 picks. And I think that their games kind of relate. They're both bigger, mobile quarterbacks with pretty good arm strength. And so I don't want to harp too much on Kellen Mond because I don't think he'll have a huge impact this year, but in the future, I think he definitely will. But
Hmm.
I think this offense, I think, will easily be a top 10 offense this year.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think so as
w-
well. Justin Jefferson is going to keep progressing. Adam Thielen is
yeah,
going to be the reliable receiver that he is,
yeah,
and Dalvin Cook's going to be Dalvin Cook. So I agree
mhm,
completely with that statement.
yeah,
The big question mark for this team is going to be on the defensive side of the ball. And I
mhm,
think there is some good. There's one very good thing that's coming back to this defense.
mhm,
They were 29th overall last year, and looking at their stats
mhm,
from last year, they lost their top three sack leaders: Yannick Ngakwe, Afide Odenigbo, and Eric. Is it Eric Wilson? Yeah,
yeah,
Eric Wilson. Apologize if I mispronounced those names. But that being said, though, so they had amongst the three of them, they had 11 and a half sacks total for last year. Danielle Hunter is coming back. He missed last year with a
yeah,
herniated disc. He had 14.5 sacks, not only in 2019, but also in 2018. So just with one
yeah,
player alone, he is bringing three more sacks than those three players
yeah,
combined. I think that's going to be a huge boost to this defensive line. They're also bringing in Dalvin Tomlinson, and Sheldon Richardson um, from Cleveland, Tomlinson from the New York Giants. Both of them had 8 sacks amongst them. So I think this defensive line is going to be something that a lot of teams, especially in the division, are going to have to be worried about, especially teams like the Bears that we just spoke about, that are going
yeah,
to have some questions on the offensive line. Same thing with the Lions as well, with their questions on the interior. And so,
mhm,
and looking at it as well, and we're going to get to the Packers here in a later episode. They also have some question marks on the interior as well. So this Vikings defensive front can really cause a lot of fits, I think, for their division rivals.
yeah.
Which,
And they're also going to bring back one guy you didn't mention is Michael Pierce. He
mhm,
missed 2020 as well, and he is a bigger run stuffing defensive tackle, nose tackle.
okay,
And
yeah,
so with those teams that may struggle a little bit with the interior of their offensive lines, uh, that's going to be huge because playing against Dalvin Cook, David Montgomery, Aaron Jones, you need to have big guys up front that can stop the run. And so I think Michael Pierce will definitely provide that for the Minnesota
yeah.
Vikings.
But luckily, Dalvin Cook is on the Vikings team, so they won't have to worry about them. But I do agree, David Montgomery,
Or
DeAndre Swift, and then
yeah, yeah.
Aaron
Sorry,
Jones.
I didn't mean to say Dalvin Cook.
No, you're good. We were just talking about
uh,
him, so it's okay.
yeah, yeah. Uh, but another loss that I think was pretty big on the defensive side was a loss of safety Anthony Harris.
Hmm.
That was their safety net over the top. They did bring in Patrick Peterson to kind of help relieve some of that load, and then also help bring up a younger secondary that's led by
Yeah,
Cameron Dantzler, who is showing a lot of promise.
yeah.
So,
Hmm. They did have. They also added Xavier Rhodes. I think I'm not sure if Anthony Harris was the free safety or the strong safety, but according to OurLads.com, they have Xavier Rhodes being the free safety right now. So that might be a position that he was in.
mhm,
Vikings fans comment if I'm mistaken on that. But so yeah, the thing for me, I think that's going to be the question mark for this defensive side is going to be the linebacker position. I feel like they lost
mhm,
a couple of key players. I already talked about Eric Wilson. But Eric Kendricks is the main guy that they're bringing back. But they got a lot of other guys that can help compete and either do the starting job
mhm,
or could be or can do linebacker by committee. Nick Vigil is coming in. He might be able to
mhm.
help out, and I think then Anthony Barr might be able to step up as well. There's a couple other
Yeah.
guys that can help out. One of the guys that they drafted that could see some playing time in the linebacker position was Chazz Surratt. So,
Mhm.
well, to see that's going to be the biggest question mark. I think if Danielle Hunter can stay healthy, I think he's gonna have kind of the Miles Garrett effect, if we're talking about equivalents, where he has
Yeah,
so much attention to one side, it's going to open up the doors for other players to be competitive and really help out this defense. So I think they should see a
yeah.
rebound, the 29th overall. Um, but
Mhm.
Ryan, I think just
I,
kind of wrap up. We Let's look at their schedule and
yeah,
see
yeah.
really kind of what the Vikings are going to be doing this year.
So for me, they have a easier start to the schedule. They get to play Cincinnati week 1. Going to Arizona is going to be tough in week 2, but then they play Seattle at home, and then in week 5 they get Detroit at home. Uh, so I have them going actually 4-1 out of their first 5 games, only losing to Cleveland, and then losing in week 6 to Carolina. But their games are pretty spread out. But I still actually have them going pretty similarly to the Bears. I think I have them going 9-8. Let me count this really fast. No, 8-9.
8 and 9, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So 8-9. I I think they can be better, but I think it's going to depend on that defense. So mainly it's going to be improved, but by how much? Like if they can become an average defense, I think they'll win more of those games
Yeah,
than that. And honestly, that would put them in a wild card spot. I don't think that they're going to be able to beat out the Packers.
yeah,
Sad news for the Vikings there, but I think that they'll definitely be in competition for a wild card spot. So
yeah. They are the type of team, they're going to have a lot of coin flip games. Like I'm looking at this Carolina Panthers game in Week 6. That could be a coin flip game. Dallas game could be coin flip. Baltimore, I think, could be coin flip because of their defense. As you said, they
mhm.
could become average. They could potentially just I know the goal is to outscore in football, but they could just their offense could just take over that game.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
both Bears games, I think, are toss up games. So yeah, like I could see them going, as you mentioned, 8-9. I could see them going 10-7. I could also see them going 6-11. So it's just going to be very interesting, I think, to
hmm
see how this team pans out, how the offensive line develops, how the linebacking core develops, how
yeah,
Danielle Hunter, if he can return to form and hopefully have another 14 and a half sack season, that'd be huge for that defense. But
yeah,
I think it's going to be fun to watch. And
yeah,
I think if there's nothing else, Ryan, I'm just going to say thank you to the viewers for getting this far.
yeah.
If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when we make new content for you guys. And good luck this season, Vikings fans.